Unmute. Hello, can you guys hear me? This is Miss Daly.
Yes, Miss Daly, we can.
Good evening, Miss Daly. How are you?
Oh, thank you.
Miss Daly, how are you?
Just fine. A little bit in a tizzy here. I'm trying to prepare for a funeral tomorrow and
Oh no.
cooking and have things going on, and it's really sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one of our community members who has a very small family, and so they asked the Kiva families to prepare for them. The wife comes from is Navajo. Well, in this time and era, we have to all stick together.
Take care of each other.
Oh, that's really true. That's really true. But the good news is the virus. I mean, the what do you call it? Is here. The vaccine.
Yeah.
It's here, so we'll just see who all gets it, I guess. Everything's not working. Let me see. Oh, there I am. I thought my face was gone. I said, where am I? And my internet connection is unstable. Oh, gosh.
Well, we can see you just fine.
Thank you. Good morning. Good evening, Miss Raquel. Long time no see.
Miss Hunt, is that your fire, what do you call it, smoke detector that's going off there, that beeping sound?
No.
You don't hear it? Oh.
I'm going to mute myself and see if it goes off.
Yes, it does.
So it's probably my mic. I couldn't get any of my headsets to work, so I had to use this mic.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
I guess it's not a...
I just thought your battery
So
was
I'll just unmute.
I thought your battery was going out.
Well, actually, I'm trying to solve PC issues, 3 important messages. I'm looking. It's charging. I don't know why. It did that the last time.
It says your bandwidth is low. Ms. Hunt.
That, okay.
Oh, you need to add a Francie Lee. No, she's here, but she's going to be she's going to be talking.
Okay, let me try.
Oh, it's I can use it in case it gets too loud. I can. Okay.
Mr. Pettis, Ms. Guy,
Hello, Dr. Guy.
yeah, do we have a quorum? Do we have a quorum?
Let's see. Do we have a quorum? Yes, we do, sir.
All right, let's begin. Everybody ready? Going to call the meeting to order at 5:32. Pledge of Allegiance. All those, please stand. Mr. Ortiz, would you lead the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
United
of
States of
America,
America,
and to
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Mr. Pettis, let's proceed. Let's call roll.
All right. Kathleen Bailey,
Here.
Dion Sandoval,
He was logging in.
Bayar Shambo,
Here.
Ron Ortiz,
Here.
Richard Jones,
Yes, I'm here.
We have a quorum. Let's proceed. Mr. Pettis, option, board members, number 2, adoption of agenda.
Sir, so good evening, board members, everybody who's online here. So the next item, adoption of the agenda. Mr. President, board, I'd like to ask that we strike item 6C, City of Grants K-9 program.
Okay.
So
Hold on one second.
with that, I recommend that we approve the agenda with that change.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ortiz to adopt the agenda as modified. Is there a second?
Dion can't unmute himself.
We're working on it.
I'll second it.
Thank you,
Second.
Richard. The motion has been seconded by Richard Jones to adopt the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against, motion carries.
Dion's here, okay? It's just getting.
Are we all here? All right, let's continue on. Recognition, Mr. Pettis. Oh, wait a minute, adoption of minutes. Let's go back to that one, December 1. Please review the minutes for yourselves briefly. I'll give you about a minute or two to look it over.
Okay.
Is he on?
Yeah, you want me to put him on my speakerphone?
Yeah.
I got you on speakerphone, okay?
So,
Mr. Pettis,
yes, sir. Before we go there, I just want to let you know that Mr. Dion Sandoval is on. He's having some technical difficulties, so we have him on the cell phone here on the desk. So he can hear us, but we're having a hard time hearing him.
Okay, I'm on now. He unmuted me.
okay, I hear you now.
All right, thanks.
Dion Sandoval is on board. Thank you. Very good. We're reviewing the minutes, Dion. So let's take another minute or so to review the minutes. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion was made by Emily Hunt Daly and seconded by Ron Ortiz to approve the minutes of December 15th, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's proceed. Next agenda item, Mr. Pettis.
Hey, Mr. President, Board, for recognition, first I'd like to state once again that I appreciate our local heroes in my mind, and that's our cooks and our staff that are on the front lines every day. Our EAs, our bus drivers, the teachers for working so hard. This evening, I'd like to start recognizing individuals as we go through the next few weeks. But for this evening, I'd like to point out some of the things that Ms. Sonia Hernandez has done. She's our health coordinator, and throughout this last several weeks, I just like to point it out that she's done an excellent job in responding to COVID cases, advising staff, advising parents and families, and doing all the reporting to the state, and keeping good order in the district's responses to all the COVID cases. So this evening, Mr. President, Board, along with the cooks, custodians, bus drivers, EAs, and all the staff and the teachers always, I'd like to point out and honor Ms. Sonia Hernandez and all of the health staff, nurses, and health assistants in the district. Under the leadership of Ms. Hernandez, we appreciate what you do. If you can see this, we've got a little plaque for you on behalf of the school board and the district. We respect the work that you're doing, and we appreciate it. So Ms. Sonia Hernandez, if you're on, I hope that you're there to respond.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to say thank you, and I agree it takes all of us to work together to get the work done. And I appreciate all the work that our staff has done. The administrative assistant, all the nurses, all the health assistants, everyone, all of us. It takes all of us to get the job done. And I appreciate the help that I've been given and the advisement. And thank you all. Thank you for the award. I appreciate it.
Very good. Board members, any comments?
Good job, Sonia. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
This is Sonia. This is a extraordinary circumstance for all of us. It is very, very critical that we carry out our duties responsibly, and that we ensure that we do this keeping in mind that everything that we do or say nowadays seems to be related to the health and safety of our children and our staff. And your role is one of the critical roles, along with your staff, in ensuring that we are able to protect ourselves, and that we are able to document our efforts to sustain the district during this difficult time. It is probably very stressful for you and staff, and will continue to be in the future, when we hope that this will be over soon and that you can return to the ordinary mundane things that you have to deal with, like sprains, some bruises, scratches, and some colds and some sniffles, and get back to that. But thank you very much for doing all that you've done so far.
Thank you. I
Mr.
appreciate all
President,
the
I'd also
support.
like to say a few words.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. President, I'd like to say a few words. Ms. Sonia, there's not many of us that could walk in your shoes and do the job that you've done so far. I think the entire school community and the rest of the community, if they could, they would give you a big hug, because you stayed steadfast in what your responsibilities are, and have gone way beyond. And if anybody appreciates you more, it's those of us that see the hard work that you do. And I think if the students knew just how crucial and critical you are to our organization, I think they would share the same sentiment. But thank you from the bottom of my heart for the work that you do, and continue. And, we're fortunate to have you. There's a lot of school districts out there that don't have a nurse or a coordinator. And so we're just very grateful that you're here with us, and hope you plan to stay for a lot of years. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you all very much. I just like to say, I hope that, all of our community stay safe, and those that are affected with this, that they get well and they recover and they heal, and then we can all go back to our lives. It may not be the same as we knew it before, but at least it'll be improved from the way it is today. So everybody stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pettis, let's continue.
Okay, Mr. President, what board? Ms. Hunt, do you still have your hand up, or is that from before? Oh, there it goes. So we do not have any citizens to address the board this evening. So if it's okay with you, Mr. President, board, I'd like to move on to presentations.
Thank you. Proceed.
Okay, so the first presentation we have from NMSU Grants Campus. And this evening we have to lead it off, Dr. Marlene Toivanen. Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Pettis, thank you for having me here tonight. I'm joined with Dr. Ken Van Winkle, our Executive Branch Director. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Marlene Chavez Toivanen, and I have recently assumed the role of Vice President for Academic Affairs at New Mexico State University, as well as Associate Campus Director for the Grants Campus. I'll let Ken introduce himself.
Good evening, school board members, President, Superintendent. Thank you for allowing us to speak about the campus this evening. We'll make it short and sweet, but and hopefully answer any questions that you might have. As Dr. Toivanen said, my name is Ken Van Winkle, and I'm working with the Grants Carlsbad and Alamogordo campus, and I can tell you that my experience so far in Grants has been amazing, and I've met some really wonderful people on the campus and off campus, and I'm excited to work with Dr. Toivanen as we move forward. So we'll go on with our presentation. And again, thank you for allowing us to speak to you this evening.
Yes. And I'll share my screen. Okay. So for those of you who are not familiar with New Mexico State University grants, we are a branch campus of the NMSU campus in Las Cruces. Part of our mission here at NMSU Grants is to offer different types of programming. And for the first type of programming that we offer is general education and transfer degrees. We offer programs in these related areas listed on your screen, and offer associate degrees in all of those, in addition to a general associate of science and associate of arts. Our second area that we focus on here at our campus would be career technical education. These programs are unique in that students can earn certificates in anywhere from a semester to a year and be workforce ready to go into the workforce, or they can earn associate degrees so that when they do enter the workforce, they have an advantage to maybe apply for positions in the supervisory roles. Our programs vary from applied business, automotive, computer technology, drafting, various healthcare, energy technology, nursing assistant, all the way to welding technology. Unique to our campus is based on associate degrees. Many of our students could stay here right in our area and earn their bachelor's degree. So based on our general education and transfer degrees, students who earn those degrees can matriculate into a four-year degree in these areas and never have to leave our area here. They can continue living at home, contributing to their family unit and staying in the community. Business administration, criminal justice, elementary education, IT. We have a bachelor's of nursing who is this semester we're going to have too many applicants. We're going to have to turn some down, unfortunately, but that's a good thing. There's room for expansion there. Sociology and women's study. The elementary education program has supplied your school district with many, many teachers over the last 20 years that are currently in your workforce in both the capacity of educational assistants as well as teachers. The student demographics at New Mexico State Grants are unique in that we are one of two colleges in the entire nation that qualify both as a Hispanic serving institution and a Native American serving non-tribal institution. The only other school in the entire United States that has this designation is from NMSU Rio Doso. And so we're pretty unique. And so with this designation, we qualify for unique grants for Hispanic serving institution as well as Native American. And while we don't currently have either one right now, in the past we've had two of each. And those have been very helpful in acquiring equipment, faculty, and other resources to help us grow here at our campus. And from the graph, you see, this is based on this fall information. We have 43% of our students are Hispanic and 32% of our students are Native American. Of those students who are Native American, that 32%, these are our tribal affiliations. Most of our Native American students are Navajo, 18% come from our Acoma, and 16% identify as Laguna.
So board members, as you know, the NMSU system restructured some of the administrative duties for particularly the three smaller branch campuses in an attempt to leverage system-wide strengths over the entire state rather than each man for himself, so to speak. And so I thought this evening we just quickly share with you the system economic development strategies that have been put into place to try to help leverage the strengths that I just described, which is in our case a system that encompasses the entire state. So you can see here, I won't go into too much detail, but at least let you be aware that these are the things or projects or programs or initiatives that the system is looking at, and hopefully what we can do is apply a number of these to the grants region. So you can see entrepreneurship, and then there's place-based innovation, which emphasizes local assets, the rural economic development. One of the things that I'm excited about is this, the project. It says project for distressed communities, and you could almost pick any community in our state. But there's an interesting project that's going to be supported by a grant that will be hosted by the NMSU Grants campus. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a minute, but it's an indoor ag project supported by a grant partnership with Tri-State, EPRA, and New Mexico State University, hosted by NMSU Grants. So we're excited about that. And so we think that because we have not only branch campuses in a lot of, well, the southeastern part of the state, the southern part of the state, and then of course the Grants campus, but we also have these extension services in every county in the state. And we're thinking that we haven't done a good enough job leveraging the strength of NMSU all over the state. So this is the strategy for starting that process. So a little more specifically, to the Grants campus, we think there's some collaboration opportunities and some programs already in place that we could really take advantage of. The Arrowhead Center, which is a center at NMSU that emphasizes workforce development, innovation, entrepreneurship. It supports those areas in terms of training, even resources on occasion. One of the programs out of that center is Studio G, and that's a program for students, college students, who would like to learn how to be entrepreneurs, start their own business. And there's all sorts of programs in Studio G specifically designed to help students in that area. And of course, you have your SBDC, right? Local SBDC, which is tied to the campus. And then, as I mentioned, you have your extension services.
Another initiative taken on by our campus and to try to strengthen our relationships with our community is to develop specific advisory boards to strengthen partnerships, relationships to help our campus grow. And so we're looking at different areas where we can establish advisory boards. We're looking at our tribal communities to strengthen our relationships with the tribal communities, the Navajo, Acoma, and Laguna reservations. We're looking at a business advisory board to inform us both for programming and or entrepreneurship and workforce development. Criminal justice in Grants, New Mexico is also very important with our local prisons, our corrections, with and our police stations. And we're also exploring engineering in collaboration with NMSU, specifically chemical engineering, to see if students want to pursue that route, and as well as renewable energy. NMSU grants initiatives, Dr. Van Winkle kind of alluded to this. First one, the indoor agricultural project is funded by Tri-State. It's a partnership between Tri-State, EPRI, and NMSU. And NMSU grants, we're the envy of all the other campuses, as we're getting this project here at our campus. And it's going to be a pilot project to determine how to grow fruit, vegetables in like a boxcar, I guess what it is. They're going to start with kale here in town, and it's going to be on our campus. There's lots of room for programming, business, looking at different types of curriculum related to that, get agricultural projects, as well as renewable energy, getting that going. We have the Student Veterans Resource Center that was funded through the legislature that has just been established on campus. We just hired a student program director for that. And so we're looking to expand services to our veterans throughout the Cibola County and assist them in coming to college here. We're looking at providing prescriptive advising for both our dual credit and early college high school students. It's very important that we serve these students and help them develop pathways towards an associate and bachelor's degree. And so we're working with our student services team to develop unique and prescriptive advising protocols for them. We have professional tutors and academic coaches that are highly trained and ready to assist students in both in a variety of disciplines, including math and science, which are oftentimes the disciplines that are most needed. Most recently, NMSU has collaborated with GCCS on math pathways. I myself am participating on this task force, and I am learning a lot about what the schools do and what kind of curriculum they're doing. We have started discussion about, getting different math classes available as dual credit classes, so there's not duplication at the public schools and at the college level. We want to expand healthcare education. We have our first phlebotomy class on the schedule for the spring. We're looking at phlebotomy technician programs, and we want to look at health information technology as well as other areas. We want to strengthen our education program to continue to serve the district and the surrounding early childhood programs with teachers and educational assistants, as well as daycare workers for our local daycare providers. We want to amplify our corrections program. Right now, we have programs at our women's prison that we're offering classes in the prison in both computer technology and drafting, and there's room for expansion there. And we have had many students complete certificates. Our contact information is here, and I'll share this PowerPoint with Superintendent Pettis. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you for having us. Are there any questions for myself or Dr. Bedwinkle?
Board members, any questions, comments? I think it's really important for you to
President, may I say something?
Yes, you may. Please.
Just real quickly, I just like to let the board, President, Superintendent, know how much a pleasure it has been to work with Dr. Toivonen, and how refreshing it is to work with someone who is so interested and so committed to your campus and your community. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd also like to comment. I
Please.
thank you for the presentation. My New Mexico State is my alma mater, and it's very close to my heart. And I think the more avenues we open for our students, the more they'll take advantage of it and serve the need, not just of our community, but worldwide. I'm grateful that you're concentrating on teaching. Then, and the more teachers you can provide us old guys can retire. Because it's really, right now, it's really hard to find teachers. And so they recall the ones out of retirement and stick them in a classroom. And I just happen to be one of those. but it's a challenging, all the items that you mentioned are very challenging fields, and I welcome the opportunity that you've opened up to service our children, especially on the native reservations. They don't have as much access to the facilities as many would think they do. So I appreciate all that you're doing and keep up the good work. And I hope to be able to sit around with you and talk more about how we can add to the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Daly.
Any other comments? Thank you, Dr.
I have
Giovanna.
a question, Mr. President.
Yes.
Dr. Toivan, do you all have, on the economic development piece, are you guys connected with the Cibola County Economic Development Foundation and SoloWorks?
Mr. Pettis, yes, I sit on the Economic Development Board.
That's
And
right.
so I'm fairly new to that position, so we do have that connection. And the director actually is a member of our branch leadership team for the system. And so she also informs our campus and NMSU of initiatives like SoloWorks.
That's Eileen.
Yes.
Okay, great. And that's right, I was on the meeting with you today, but I just curious about learning about the different entities myself. It seems like there's opportunities for a connection with SoloWorks and our school district and New Mexico State.
Yes.
Mr. Pettis, I just want to share with you, I met with SoloWorks last week, and we think this is an opportunity to not only increase their presence in Cibola County, but include them in I don't know how this will be handled at this point, but move beyond to include the Carlsbad and Alamogordo campus as part of a initiative in which that program expands.
Thank you. Good.
All right, Mr. Pettis and board members. I think that we've heard an excellent presentation, and we are very appreciative of the efforts of the campus of NMSU grants to interface with us and continue to work with us to develop our population of youth and citizens. And good luck, and let's continue to work together.
Thank you for your time and the opportunity to be here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Pettis, let's continue on.
Okay, Mr. President, board, the next item up is the STAR team. The acronym STAR came up with staff taking action to keep students rising. That was the original. It's evolving as we speak. You know, in all districts throughout the state, we're having challenges of students missing school, being absent, grades. There's a lot of challenges that we didn't have before COVID. So there are different ways that we're pursuing keeping our students engaged with education. We know that the teachers are making phone calls daily, reaching out, doing whatever they can and directly from the classroom. We know that principals are out there. Some of them are even going to homes to ensure that the students are engaged with education. We all know the reasons why that's so important. So this STAR team is evolving as another means of supporting the schools because we know that they can't do it all themselves. So we're putting a team together to work together to help each other out in reaching those students that may be having some issues in getting connected. And there's a variety of issues of why they're not. So without saying too much, I'd like to turn it over to start with Mr. Jackie Sanchez or Ms. Reina Sanchez.
Mr. President, board superintendent, we thank you for this opportunity for us to come see you guys today. This whole thing started with a conversation between Mr. Pettis and Jackie Jones, and that conversation led to a program that I think is going to be very successful within our district. And it takes the initiative that's started in the classrooms with the teachers onto the principals, and now it's expanded itself to show that the district itself, from the administration to the district office, that we're all in this together and we're all here to support each other. So what I'll do is I'll let Raina go on and explain to you what she has to say, and then I'll finish up and tell you what I started with and what some of us have started with. Raina?
Good evening, President and Mr. Pettis and members of the board. Like Jackie said and Mr. Pettis said, we started this out of necessity for reaching students. I think at our campuses, all of us have had a lengthy list that's been shortened through a lot of efforts from our EAs and from our teachers and from our office staff and from everybody on campus. But we still have a small handful at each campus that needs a little bit of extra. We need to go out and visit. We need to see what the barriers are. And so that's what we're doing now. The STAR team is made up of a few administrators and a few others. And what we do is we meet weekly just to brainstorm and to figure out different ideas and to see what we've researched and what's been working for everybody else. At Los Alamitos, we've reached out several different ways, and we just know that sometimes we just need a fresh face to reach out and try to get connection with some of these. And so that's one of the things that's been nice about this group is that I've been able to say, Jackie, I know you have a really good relationship with this family and this family. I think you can reach out for me and see what we can do. And we've got some kids connected that way. So basically it's taking our administration team, our campus teams, our counseling team and everybody else, and just helped out each other at the different campuses. Jackie, you want to go over what we've already accomplished?
Sure. So some of the things that we've done, we've already started going to homes, and our goal is to have a focus team that will stay together, and that team is going to be assigned students that the principals have listed and counselors have listed that they have not been able to connect with, that we just need somebody else. And so this last Friday, I went to a few homes. I met with students that are not my students, that are from another campus, one from Los Alamitos and that shares with Grants High School. I've gone to a couple of elementary parents, and some has been knocking on the door, and a couple were through Facebook or different avenues. And just to make that connection, to show that we as a district, it's been successful. The fact that I felt like they let me into the home when they would already close the door to the school because they're tired of, well, school keeps bothering me about my child and they don't understand, or those kind of things. And I get it at my campus as well. We call parents and they're like, I wish you guys would stop calling, but yet they're allowing somebody else to engage with them. And I think that's very critical. And it shows that the whole district of Grants-Boyle County Schools cares about these students. It's not just the teacher, it's not just the principal at the site, it's the entire district. So we're starting to see some success with it, and we're just barely starting. Today we met and we broke down groups that are going to be divided. I think Renee can kind of give you a little more information on that because she worked on that today. And just find out where we're gonna focus at. And we're getting it down to the student level. And I think that's the most important thing, is these students that are not coming to school, that are not engaging, that are not logging in, we're getting down to that student level. And I think that's gonna be a big change. We're gonna see a big change in attendance. I think we're gonna be a big change in engagement. And we're gonna be build relationships with those students throughout the district. So I think Renee, I don't want to call anybody out. I don't know who's going to speak next.
Sure. I'm ready for you, Mr. President, Superintendent Pettis, members of the board. Thank you. So the whole goal, again, like Mr. Sanchez and Ms. Sanchez talked about, developing those partnerships, district leaders. We also have gone a lot deeper into going into tribal affiliation, using the support of Pueblo of Acoma. Dr. Riley has played a key role, ready to develop a team to connect with the students. Councilman Ray and Miss Honey Estua from Laguna ready for the check-in on Thursday to see the process through. Also the partnership with Mr. Nez and another team, and then community members. So like Mr. Sanchez said, it's going at a deeper level, and the whole focus is to connect with every child, the uniqueness of the child and all the gaps. Looking at Yazi Martinez and connecting everything to close achievement gaps beyond the academic level. So Jackie Sanchez has already made 2 connections. I have another from Laguna, senior connections through Honey Estua. And so the whole purpose is to bring a whole community together, because the team really feels one student is too much. And Mr. Pettis has supported this team and is looking at all of our district leaders along with the community and tribal affiliations to help support every student.
I'd like to also add that we know how important it is to involve parents, because we talk about parent involvement a lot. We do have a key person that's in this team who's a parent and community member. Ms. Francie Lee, are you on?
I am, sir. Mr. Perez, Mr. President, members of the board, thank you for letting me speak for a few minutes tonight. I am a card-carrying believer in education, and my family has been involved with education in the state of New Mexico since the early 1900s, and my family helped start 3 schools in this state. And because of that, I grew up believing that you can get a great education anywhere as long as teachers, parents, and students work together to benefit the student. And right now I have a son who's in graduate school. He graduated from Grants High in 2016 as valedictorian, graduated from college magna cum laude, and is going on for master's. I have a son in 5th grade at Milan Elementary. I have a niece and nephew at Mesa View. I've been in this district for 11 years now as a parent, and I think that I was very lucky to meet with Mr. Perez over the summer to discuss what a difficult time this is for education and keeping kids educated. And we've had a lot of really...
GCCS. Yeah.
I don't know what just happened there.
Just continue on.
Okay. Anyway, Mr. Perez and I have had a lot of really great meetings talking about what we can do, and he's been very kind to listen to a current parent's perspective for what is going on. And I think the biggest thing, as Renee and Jackie and Raina have already said, we need to be involved as a community. And when Mr. Perez and Jackie Jones reached out to me to join the STAR team, I immediately said yes, because we need to do what we can to reach every single child in this district.
Can you unmute her? Hang on just a second. Dr. Martin? Somehow she got muted. All right.
Am I still muted?
Okay, you're back on now. Thank you.
Okay, so sorry about that. I'm going to wrap it up by saying that I think what we have been doing in the STAR team meetings is trying to come up with a way to reach as many families and children as we can. But one common thing that we all keep talking about over and over again is what can we do to help reach the parents and help them facilitate their children learning at this time. And I know Reina and Jackie Sanchez have been trying to work at reaching people by opening the phone lines to let members of the community call and ask for help with how do we do this Google Meet? How can I check my child's work? And I think that if we can keep educating parents like myself in the district for how we as parents can be supportive, I think that we'll do all a lot better, especially with something like the STAR team in place. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Francie.
Board members, comments, questions? I think this is a very important effort on the part of the district to reach out to the parents and to the students directly. We encourage you to continue to do so. That's extremely important. And we know that it's sometimes difficult. Sometimes it's very sensitive. Parents may be reluctant. They have varying degrees of receptiveness. But if they believe, if they can see that you're genuine and are interested in them, then they will eventually start to recognize that we have their children's interests at heart.
Mr. President, I'd also like to comment on your STAR team. Are we going to get any kind of like data or statistics on how many families you've reached and visits you've made, or just to give us an idea of how we're meeting the community's needs?
Yes, Mrs. Hunt-Daly, Mr. President, the team is already, we have a few technology people, few techs in the group, and they've already established a data system and keeping track of families, where they're located, what the issues might be, and so on. But once the work starts coming out, we'll have some data to bring back to the board.
Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing your data and doing and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Pettis.
Yes, sir. So that's what we have. And I thank the team for sharing tonight. Appreciate it. It's a great team. Next up, Mr. President, board, I'd like to move on to action items.
All right, let's continue to do that.
The first action item this evening is board reorganization. So with that, I turn it over.
Okay, Mr. Board members, let me review the board policy right now. Some of you have already seen it, but let me do that in any event. I will preside over this portion of it until a successor is chosen. And the board can use the procedure to elect various officers. The floor shall be open to nominations for the office to be voted upon. At this time, the names of possible appointees shall be put forward by members and debated. And if there's any debate, then the president shall call the roll of the members and each member shall cast his vote. The votes shall not be tallied until all members have voted. And when we do vote, we will do it by roll call, so we'll know who's doing that, who's voting on a particular nominee. The nominee who receives the highest number of votes shall be appointed to the officer of nomination. The new president of the board shall take office upon election. Election for the vice president shall then take place, and following that, the election of the secretary. Each officer shall take office upon election to that position. So what we're going to do is we'll begin with that. I just want you to, when you do get selected, reference the roles and your duties of your responsibilities that are listed in the policy book regarding what you are required to do. When it comes to nominations, you can, if you nominate one person, it doesn't mean you are limited to nominating just one person. You can nominate someone else if you so desire. It doesn't mean that you are in favor of them. It just means that you want to allow the board to have a larger sample of possible nominees. And once we complete this, once we complete this, I will immediately turn it over to the board president, and that person is must be prepared to continue with the selection of the vice president and the secretary. So with that in mind, the floor is open for nominations for the board president.
Did you hear that, Dr. Guy? We got a nomination. We got a nomination from Dion for Ron Ortiz.
So you're saying that Dion Sandoval has nominated Ron Ortiz for president. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I heard that. Thank you. Just holler out loud, Dion. Is there a second to that nomination?
There doesn't have to be a second. It can be there's no second on the nomination. There can be a debate or discussion now, but you can go right to vote.
Let's wait on that, Richard. The last time we did that, we did have seconds.
Okay,
so we did do seconds in 2018, and I went back and looked at that. Now, I'm not quibbling on that. I'm just saying that if you desire board members to have a second, we may have that. If we prefer to defer on seconds, that we can do that too. Just like what Richard said. So if there's no objection, we will. Yes.
Mr. President, I was kicked out of the meeting, and so I didn't hear the nomination.
Okay, let me.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the nomination?
Yes, Dion Sandoval has nominated Mr. Ron Ortiz as for board president, and then Richard and I were discussing whether we needed seconds for the nominations. I had said that in 2018 we did have seconds for the nominations, but we don't have to have them. And this is what Richard was saying. So unless there's an objection to it, we will dispense with seconds. Is that acceptable? Seeing no problem with that, we will go ahead and enter in the nomination of.
That's fine.
Of Ron Ortiz as president of the board.
Mr. President.
Yes.
I also would like to ask that nomination cease.
Are you moving to close the nominations at this time? Emily?
Yes, I make a motion for that nomination cease.
No, that's not.
I make a motion that nomination cease.
No, that's not a motion.
Okay.
We vote on the nomination. If he doesn't get the
vote,
nominate again, but you don't ever vote to cease nominating. We have.
All right.
Let's go to vote.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Are there any other nominations for president?
You have to have a vote before you nominate somebody else.
It did not. Let me see. Hold on a second. Yes, the floor shall be open to nominations for the office to be voted upon. At this time, the names of possible appointees shall be put forward by the members and debated. So it means plural, the names of possible appointees, not just one, shall be put forward by the members and debated. When the debate ends, the president shall call the roll of the members, and each member shall cast his vote. The votes shall not be tallied until all members have voted. So, Richard, it says that the names of possible appointees shall be put forward, not just one.
I agree. Can't cease to nominate. If there's another nominations, let's do it and vote. But nobody can vote to make a motion to quit nominations.
Well, that's what we're not doing. We're going to go to what is said there is that we can seek any other nominations.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. Let me ask you again, board members, are there any other nominations for the office of president of the board? Seeing none, then I believe we only have one nominee for board president. Are there any discussions? Does Ron Ortiz consent to this nomination?
I do.
He does. Very good. We have a nomination of Ron Ortiz for the office of board president, and he has consented to that. We are now ready to call, since there are no other nominees, we are ready to entertain a motion.
It's just a vote.
Are we ready to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Covey, do you have the listing of the board members?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this will be to nominate Ron Ortiz as board president. And if you say aye, you agree to his nomination to be board president.
Yep.
To be elected. Begin.
Dion Sandoval. Aye. Emily Hunt Daly.
Aye.
Guy Archambault.
Yes.
Richard Jones.
Aye.
Ron Ortiz.
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz has received unanimous votes to become the board president. Mr. Ortiz, congratulations. You are now the board president of the Grand Cebolla County School District.
Thank you, Dr. Guy. Thank you, board members.
And as such, you are now prepared to take over the meeting, and we'll proceed with the other offices. And I will no longer you will continue with the remainder of the board agenda. And so, Mr. Perez, you can assist as necessary, or any of the others. So let's proceed with the rest of it. Mr. Ortiz, the floor is yours.
Okay, do we have any nominees for vice president? Any other nominees?
There was, if you didn't hear it, there's a nomination by Mr. Sandoval for Richard Jones to be vice president.
Any other nominees before we move on? Okay, Emily, you wanna, with that, we'll take a vote on Mr. Jones being vice president.
Dion Sandoval. Emily Hunt Daly.
Nay.
Guy Archambault.
Yes.
Richard Jones.
Aye.
Ron Ortiz.
Yes. Okay. Okay, with that, congratulations, Mr. Jones. You're our vice president. Nominees for secretary?
Mr. President, I nominate Dion Sandoval.
Okay, everybody hear that?
You hear me? I nominate Dion Sandoval.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Hunt. Any other nominees? Okay, with that, Emily, you want to take roll call?
Yes, sir. Dion Sandoval. Aye. Emily Hunt Daly.
Yes.
Guy Archambault.
Aye.
Richard Jones.
Aye.
Ron Ortiz.
Yes. Okay, congratulations to myself, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Sandoval. And just a quick comment, I really believe that we have a great board. All of us have really worked well together to better our students and our staff in our districts. So I'm very happy with that. And I ask that we continue to work together to make this happen for the remainder of our terms. With that, Mr. Perez, our next item.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. President, board members, the next action item is a consideration of approval for facial recognition equipment. And I do recommend approval of this action item. And we have Mr. Maldonado to explain some details about this.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mr. President, board members. The facial recognition equipment it has a number of features that we want to install into all the schools and all departments. First of all, it's a hands-free thermal imaging device that allows staff at all schools and departments to check temperatures of students and staff entering the building automatically. I'm going to show you, if I could share my screen, I'm going to show you what this looks like so that you can see what we're talking about. It's this item right here. And it, what happens is the student or the staff member comes in, they just put their face in front of it and it recognizes their face and will take their temperature and allow them to enter. They have, besides doing the safe temperature taking, it also has other features and services that it will provide to the district. It will track attendance in the building for both students and staff in all locations so that we can keep a better handle on who's in the building in case of emergencies, and especially knowing who's in the building in case of potential exposures. It increases safety for everyone all around. It also provides audio instructions and warnings in case the temperature is out of range. It helps with our keyless access control, the big initiative that Mr. Lee is working on to make sure that all the buildings have keyless access and control. It also feeds into a centralized security center that will be located up in the district office that can track every school, every site, provides regular reports on safety and temperature monitoring, follows all HIPAA requirements so that we're not storing any personal health information. And it will be, we're ordering 30 of these units. Some of them will be wall mounted, some will be on a podium, and others will be on a desktop version. Was determined as Mr. Lee went around and looked at all the sites, determined which ones needed which. And so that's how we came up with this. And so I stand for any questions.
Try that again.
Any questions, board members, for Mr. Maldonado?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Maldonado. Mr. Perez, recommendation?
I recommend that we approve this purchase, this action item.
Okay, I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Sandoval. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Next item, Mr. Perez.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, Board, the next item is consideration and approval for the 2021, 2022 Indian Policies and Procedures, IPP. We look to work to get a joint effort to get our application for,
Ron?
this is tied into Impact Aid, the Impact Aid applications. And I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Renee Sanchez.
Good evening again, Superintendent Pettis, members of the board. So the IPP has been thoroughly reviewed. Dr. Martin has played a key role in organizing. Through the weekly check-ins and consultations, we have some recommendations from all areas and that have been agreed upon. And so the next step is to get board approval and superintendent's approval. And then we'll send it off to Pueblo of Acoma, governor and council. And they have agreed to, with the IPP, current IPP that's out there right now that you have in your binders or email. And then from there, Laguna, and then Navajo. We have a variety of meetings that we have set up throughout this whole process to gather feedback on the IPP. Let me look at the. So 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks after drafting the IPP, we met with Pueblo of Acoma, Pueblo of Laguna, Navajo Nation, so they can review it and discuss recommendations. They were solicited on December 2nd, all the recommendations. During the Pueblo of Acoma, the TIP meeting, Pueblo of Acoma and Laguna had talked about it and added more and discussed, waiting some feedback from Navajo Nation. And then on December 17th, it was discussed again, and all three tribes are in concurrence and would like to sign after board approval and superintendent signatures. Any questions I can have?
Any questions, board members?
Yeah, Mr. Ortiz, is there any profound changes over previous versions of this?
Mr. Jones, there has only been additions and recommendations. So the changes have been updated to New Mexico PED initiatives. So it's been updated to include the initiatives. Dr. Riley had put in some recommendations, and we reviewed the recommendations with both tribes, Pueblo of Laguna and Navajo Nation, and the recommendations are below. It's just aligning the same data points to share with all three tribes and the district. And so it's changes that strengthened our document as we consulted with everyone. So no major changes, just updated to strengthen it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, recommendation, Mr. Perez.
Mr. President, Board, I recommend that we approve the 2021, 2022 Indian Policies and Procedures as presented.
Okay, we need a motion. Motion by Mr. Sandoval.
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Okay, Mr. Perez.
Okay, Mr. President, Board, moving on to the consent agenda. I recommend to the board that you approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, I need a motion on the consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Sandoval. Need a second?
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Jones. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Do I need some more? Okay, there we go. Okay, motion carries. Mr. Perez, Superintendent report.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, Board, I have several items that I'd like to just take a few minutes to share. Number one, I think it's important to know that alongside other districts across the state, our numbers have decreased. A lot of it due to COVID. Some of it, as I explained at board meetings before, has to do with the downward trajectory that most districts are experiencing. But right now, it's rather alarming that we have 286 students down now from this point last year. So that is significant for many obvious reasons. It's part of why we're making every effort to going out and finding where these students are at, what they're doing. We know that some of them have, not only here, but other places, are moving to other options like the Connections Academy and different things of that sort. So it's a changed world. We're feeling the impact, and we're down 286 students, which equates financially to approximately $2.6 million. We're hoping that at the legislative session that they will approve our proposal, and that by our proposal, I think there's a lot of people behind holding us harmless this next school year so that we can go off the student numbers of last year. As we work through this pandemic, we hope that things will be back in order and we can continue to operate with some normalcy as we start the next school year. So that's one of the big items I want to share. The other thing that's interesting is as we move back into, if or when we move back into hybrid model, there is a requirement for surveillance testing where 10% of the staff that is going to be at the school sites or engaged with students in any way, shape, or form will be subject to surveillance testing. They would like 10% of the staff that will be working with students or at the schools to get tested, 10% to get tested 2 weeks prior to any students coming back onto campus. There's still a few details that are coming out there. It's interesting that the administration of the tests will change significantly. There's a saliva test out where the test kits, this is where it's not quite answered fully, but the last I talked, there was a discussion about those test kits either coming to the district and we divvy those out, or the test kits go directly to the homes of the staff members. And of course, it's a test that has to be administered in front of a camera to see that it's administered properly, sealed, and delivered and sent in. So that's I wanted to share that bit of interesting information. Also, remember on our website we have a live data system with the number of COVID cases associated with our students or staff. Right now, the total cases is 74. If you look at the bar charts and on the website, November we had 45. December we're at 18 right now. So you might take a look at that, and we'll be glad to answer any questions around that. The other thing as part of finance is kind of regressing back to the finance piece. Also wanting to keep our SEG whole and be held harmless. There's discussion also about keeping us funded with transportation You know, typically we submit our reports, and we have, you know, the regular number of students that we would submit, and that number is which we get funded by. This year, at those data times, 40, 80, 40th day, 80th day, there's basically no students that were reported. So once again, that's an issue that's across the state. So if we're reporting 0 students riding the bus, you know, does that mean that we get $0 for transportation? That just can't happen, because we have to keep that function of the district up and running. So that's still in discussion as far as I know. I'll be talking to legislators to help us keep that whole and keep us above water so that we can just continue with normal operations when that day comes. As we talk to legislators, we know I've got a few to agree to meet with us this Thursday. We want to push for them to protect our cash. We want to push for them to settle our impact aid issues. And we know that's been a battle for years, but it does seem like there's been some movement there. We're hoping that we'll see some progress with our impact aid demand. Another thing we're pushing for is more funding, more guidance, more support with the social emotional aspect of all the things we have going on, including extending or including more funding for counselors and expanded contract days for counselors. So once again, I do have the local legislators joining in this Thursday at 4 o'clock is a time that they all agreed on. But I'd like to talk directly with the legislators so that when they go into the legislative session, they'll have a good sense of the status of the district and what our progress is and what our challenges are, so that they'll go into the legislative session well equipped. In addition, I'll just go ahead. There's also a legislative, local community county legislative forum this coming Monday, in which all of the state funded entities will get together and present requests to the legislators in a more formal setting. I know, for example, the city of Grants will be they're giving their request, the county, and we will be there as well. We did this last year about this time, and our requests are the same unless the board chooses otherwise. We're going to be presenting because we know that this type of funding is sketch out for certain certain types of projects. It's a little bit different than capital, a little bit different than those other funds that we work through. So at this particular meeting, once again, we're asking for funding for the security access points at both high schools, at Laguna Acoma and at Grants High School. And then the second request, we're asked to keep it down to just 1 or 2, would be to ask about the activity buses, 2 activity buses for the district. And those will be universal so that both buses could be used as needed by either high school. And that's what we have as far as the legislative piece. Before I move on to the personnel update, are there any questions about any of that? If not, I'd like to move on to the personnel update, which was requested by the board last meeting. just to give a sense of where we're at staff-wise, openings, resignations, retirements. So, Mr. Toivanen, are you on?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
All right. Thank you, Superintendent Pettis, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So my intent is to provide you with a personnel update. This year has definitely presented its share of challenges in all operations of our organization, and personnel is no different. You should have received a vacancy listing as part of your board packet, and there are yellow, it's color coded. Yellow indicates current vacancies we have or anticipated vacancies. Currently, as of today, we have 6 teaching vacancies, but we are anticipating 7 more at semester. People have provided us notice. We have filled approximately a little over 40 positions since the start of the school year certified, and several of these are still pending, and we are still continuing to interview. However, as Mr. Pettis said, with our drop of enrollment, we are proceeding cautiously and really evaluating these positions to see if we are able to fill these with existing staff or meet the needs of the students with existing staff. I feel fortunate that we've still been able to get interest from applicants, and as part of that, we've offered incentives for hard to staff, such as math, science, special ed. So we're moving forward. We don't know what the spring semester will bring. If you were to ask me why we've had some of these midterm retirements and resignations, I think COVID has had a big role in that, either people concerned with their own health or health of family members, or having to take care of possibly a parent or someone else that's suffering with COVID. So, we've been doing a lot of talking with employees and moving forward. We've had some that had initially decided to resign or retire and decided to stay. We have some excellent staff, and we always try to encourage them to stay. But at the end of the day, it is ultimately their decision. They have to make those decisions. But I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Board members, any questions for Mr. Toivanen? Thank you, Mr. Toivanen.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. President, Board, I have one more item under the report. As you know, we've been, the committee has been meeting on the design of the new Blue Water School. And have Mr. Lee here to give an update on how that's going.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Pettis. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to give you a little update about Blue Water Elementary School. I am going to share some screens with you, and I hope that I don't get you confused. Because I'm going to be bouncing between a couple of different files here, but so the process, just to talk a little bit about the process, we're having we just had our second meeting last Wednesday night. It consists of about 25 individuals. Some are the architects. We have some school administrative personnel, and then we have some Blue Water staff, as well as a few community members that either have children or grandchildren or have been a part of the community of Blue Water. And so at this point, we're building on the program options. We're looking at our initial schematic design, and then we started to look into anticipated or estimated budget. And that's what I'm going to go through with you tonight. The school district was awarded an award for a school of 95 students that would be a little over 17,000 gross square foot. if you look, and I hope you guys can see that. If somebody can't, if you guys can't, let me know. But basically at 95 students, that's kindergarten through 6th grade, around 13 or 14 students. The net square footage, kindergarten has a little more square footage per student, the rest of the grade levels at 34. So that brings a minimum square foot adequacy to 700 for kindergartens and in the mid to high 400s for 1st grade through 6th grade. However, the state, the PSFA also has strongly recommended that they would not like a kindergarten smaller than 900 square feet or any other grade level smaller than 650 square feet. And so we're attempting, we have 4 options, option 1, 2, 3, and 4 if you look across, and then there's a schematic design, and then there'll be a budget that I'm going to show you for each of those. So in our original with 95 students, 17,683 square feet. I mentioned the classrooms, but then we started looking at the specialty spaces, and those are special ed, art, music, media center, computer labs, and then the multi-purpose area. Under this scenario of 17,600 plus square feet, our special ed, we determined it would have to be a half-size classroom or a little more than a half size. The art classroom would be a little larger. However, it would be a combo art and music room with storage for each. The media center, if you'll notice here along the whole way, we keep it the same size. We felt it was important that we kept that square footage for a media center with the storage and with the office workroom. But in this first one, the multipurpose gym is 2,400 square feet. And I think I want to talk a little bit about the existing gym at this point. The existing gym floor space is 2,400 or 4,400 square feet. When you count all the other areas, it ends up being 6,800 square feet, which I'm going to talk about here shortly. But getting back to this first option, 2,400 square feet with the PE office storage, no stage, which they currently have. And then a kitchen, of course, with storage. And then an admin office suite is rather small, 293 square feet, pretty small. Nurse's office, faculty workroom, teacher's lounge, storage, and so forth. So in option two is an idea that we are working on with the PSFA, with the PSCOC, to increase the adequacy to 122 students, which would be 22,000 square feet. The current building is 21,810 square feet. And so we want to get as close to that as we possibly can. So option two is really our best effort to try to increase that square footage for the new building to match the square footage of what we would be moving out of. So the kindergarten goes to 1,000 square feet. And if you notice, anything in green is an increase, anything in other colors is typically a decrease, or so forth. First through 6th grade would move their square footage of their classrooms up to 750 square feet, which is a pretty good size space. The special ed gets up to almost a regular size room, but then you'll notice here in the art and the music that it's no longer a combo space, it's 2 separate rooms. The rest of this in white stays the same, media center and the storage. You'll notice here a computer lab in both of these 2 options is non-existent. The multipurpose room gym stays the same at 2,400 square feet with the same storage. But if you'll notice, the dining increases. And this is where we gain the space to a building that is to a gymnasium multipurpose that's very similar to what they're moving out of. And I'm going to talk about that here shortly. The admin grew a little bit, not a lot. And what we came up with was 22,161, which is 161 square feet over adequacy at that point. Option three is based off of, if you will, pie in the sky. What would everybody want? It's not necessarily the need, but what everybody would want. Once again, kindergarten would have 1,000 square foot area. We bump up the classrooms to 840, bump up the special ed and the specials up to the same size as a regular classroom. This is where we add a computer lab. And then we increase the size of the office area, the administration and nurses area. This increases pretty significantly. It increases by 3,600 square feet above the 22,000 that we're asking for. And I'm going to show you some budgetary figures here briefly. And then option four is if we keep the gym. And that I know that's been a point of conversation and discussion. None of this really changes in option four. We keep everything except you'll notice that the multipurpose room, multipurpose gym, PE office and storage goes away because we would retain what is existing. There would be a separate dining area, and then the office area would stay the same. To give you an idea of how that would look, and gosh, I think I'm way too big here. This is the first option of 95 students with 17,683 square feet. In all options, we're looking at coming off of Center Street rather than going through the neighborhood. Rather than going through the existing neighborhood where the parking lot is to the south of the school. This is the original school. So in option one, we have the 17,000 plus. It only comes with a 2,400 square foot multi-purpose room. And that's where the classrooms are a little bit smaller. A benefit of this, if you'll see over here,
Mr. Lee? Mr. Lee?
Yes.
The Zoom is at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I hope you can see this. There would be a running track with a play field. It would most likely be synthetic, but in this option, we would have a pretty large parking lot. It would be comfortable for staff parking, visitor parking, and a bus loop as well as a service loop. In the second option, the only real difference is that it grows. The classrooms grow. The spaces grow a little bit, as I talked about. 22,000 square feet. The dining area would be included with the gym. In the third option, there's not a whole lot of change other than the size of the classrooms themselves. The running track with the play field would remain. Now, in all three of these options, it would be one phase of construction. We would build the new building, and then in all three of those options, we would move the kids into the new building, and we would demolish the old building with no interference or no obstruction of instruction. In the fourth option, with the gym remaining, that would only be, this dining area would only be a dining area kitchen. The classrooms would be very similar to the second or third option. And then we would renovate 6,800 square feet of space. There would be some drainage that we would have to mitigate, either through a berm or through underground piping to get the rainwater away from this existing gym, because the existing gym is below existing grade, and we do have some issues from time to time with that. Are there any questions at this point? Because I'm going to move into the dollars here. So if you look back at the first option, 95 students, 17,683 square feet at $300 to $325 per square foot cost range. This total MAC is what we would be looking at as a total budget. Now, keep in mind that we would be 75% state, 25% school district on the cost for that. As we grow to 22,161, which 161, basically 161 would be the only, 161 square feet would be the only amount of square footage that we would be responsible for 100%. But that grows from 6.9 to 7. This is a range, 6.9 to 7.7. It would climb up to 8.3 to 9.3. Also keep in mind, if we are awarded a building for 22,000 square feet, the state's amount would increase as well. The percentage wouldn't change, but the amount that they would participate would increase. So this would be one where we would have full participation of the state. Now, as you look at option 3, that climbs dramatically. And basically, if you look at, and let's just take the low end number, that difference would be 100% district, the difference there. Because we would be awarded for 22,000 square feet, and then anything above that would be on our dime, essentially. So we're looking at 1.2 million increase. And then option 4 gets really expensive because of the renovation. If you'll notice here, and I'll try to, there's no renovation costs involved. There's no renovation costs involved in option 2 or 3, whereas there would be a renovation cost that would increase that substantially. Now, just to give you a little idea of process, Mr. Perez and I go back to the council in January, and we present for the 122 students. We feel that that's a good place for us to argue our point. And if you know anything about the PSFA or the PSCOC, is that you can't go to them with an arbitrary number. You have to go to them with a justification of number of students or program changes. And those are really the only 2 ways that you can argue your case. And so it's important that we really try to get that number pretty tight as far as number of students. And then at that point, we'll know what the state's going to participate in. And then we can come back to you as a board and ask for your approval on some kind of a design that doesn't run our budget too extreme. I mean, we are limited, and so that's where we're at here. I'll answer any questions you all might have. I hope what I've presented has been clear enough for you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Any questions from the board for Mr. Lee?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is that it, Mr.
So,
Perez?
Mr. President, one more item. I don't know, is Miss Adriana Hunter still on? Miss Adriana Hunter, she's a counselor at Mesa View Elementary. And I think she was supposed to be part of the presentation on STAR Team. She plays a really important role with the connection between the counselors and the group that's working on connecting with families. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss the opportunity to have her share. She's not on. Okay. Okay. I'll connect with the counselors have the counselors connect later time. Thank you. That's all I have for the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Perez. Announcements, they're there for you to look at. Future agenda items, get with me or Max, and we'll get those in for you. Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Jones, need a second? Second by Mr. Sandoval, all in favor? Aye, thank you. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.